From the corners of the internet to the wave signals in your brain, you have now synced into All Aware. Against the norm, you are expanding your mind and educating your soul. Let the transmissions commence.
Broadcasting off of the grid in Central Texas, this is the All Aware Podcast. Please stand by for your host, Nathan Roshan.
108 again Sunday afternoon.
Welcome to All Aware. I am Nathan Roshan. Today we have a guest coming on the program to discuss the importance of an affidavit. You may have heard this term, and it's possible you think it's just another word for a piece of paper or for a document. But in reality, an affidavit is so much more. Stay tuned. We will be right back on All Aware with my friend and special guest, Echo Hotel.
You are listening to the All Aware Podcast on the TrueRants Network.
If you are a fan of this show on the TrueRants Network, visit us online at TrueRants.net.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of All Aware. I am Nathan Roshan, and you may not know much about the affidavit. You've heard that term, I'm sure, and it's usually just a fancy way of saying a piece of paper or a document that you sign, right? Well, what if it was much more than that? We spoke on a previous podcast, I believe it was the Jacera episode, where we talked about what happened over the couple hundred years since America has been founded by our forefathers. And we talked about the Act of 1871, which corporatized the United States and other countries and made them more of a business structure, which also made it that the people are assets and anything that the people produce belongs to the government. Your children are the ward or a ward of the state. They're in control. And this is all done without our knowledge and without our express consent. But it did happen. So let's start talking a little bit about the solutions to this. One of these solutions is something called an affidavit. Yeah. You can do them just as well as a lawyer or anybody else. And it's a great way to get back your sovereignty. And to be honest, I'm going to learn a little bit tonight. And I'm grateful because I have a friend who's coming on in a little bit tonight, who's going to talk about some issues that's been going on in his life and how he's been battling the court system and the government with his own affidavits, how he's appeared in court for a situation with his son and how that experience has gone with him as he represents himself and his child through the court system by using affidavits and by using his own statements and by using his own expertise as a sovereign man. But before we get to that, let's go over a little bit about what's going on in our country and in our world today. To catch everybody up, we haven't talked a lot about what's going on politically in our country on this podcast. I blurt out stuff here and there as I need to, but we haven't gone into the logistics of the severity of everything that's happening. So let's get a little deep into that today. Let's take a couple minutes here and discuss things that are happening. Most of the things that are going on are considered conspiracy theories, a term that was created during the MK Ultra days by the CIA in the 40s and 50s to dissuade people from even considering certain forms of thought, certain facts that do not go in line with what's best for the government's viewpoint. It was thrown around in Operation Mockingbird, which was where the CIA infiltrated all news organizations, planting people within those structures that can persuade them into sharing things to make the government more appealing and to cover up any kind of tracks when it came to UFO disclosure or black projects that were going on in the government, and kind of a psyop to throw out little terms throughout the media broadcasts to dissuade people from considering things that are not the approved agenda. So the term conspiracy theorist came to mind and was released, and they went an extra step to grab the most kookiest and insane fringe people to interview, some who wore tinfoil hats and some who refused to wear clothes in the middle of the desert and had little quirks to them that made everyone assume they were insane. By doing that, they were able to successfully cause the societal zeitgeist to believe the term conspiracy theory was quackery. Anyone considered that is untruthful, bizarre, unapproachable, and certainly unbelievable. And now today, we live with generations of people who feel just like that. And all the media, all the public politicians have to say is that's a conspiracy, and it is disregarded quicker than your dirty underwear. So a lot of the things that are outside of the norm, whether they can be proven or not today, they go against the agenda of big corporations, of the Freemasons and the secret societies, of politicians and their lobbyists, and of a certain enemy who has accumulated all the wealth, all the power, and all the privilege in the world. And so today we sit here battling these people who have decided to take over the last bit of our freedoms, of our sovereignty, and who honestly think that we were useless eaters, that we have no value, and that we should be slaves to their creation. And in the year 2020, the election for the United States of America presidency was stolen from President Donald J. Trump through very sophisticated computer and satellite technology that switched votes. And then furthermore, we had ground agents who continued the fraud by throwing away, deleting, and removing thousands upon thousands of ballots. We also had further cover-up by other countries such as Italy, China, who meddled in the affairs of our election. You've now since heard of the Dominion Voting Company, who provided most of the software and most of the ballot boxes for the entire United States. Of course, anything that goes against any of this has to be conspiracy. It has to be theory. It cannot be correct, right? It's just people who think negatively, who always see the bad in everything, right? No, I'm afraid not. It is the people that see beyond the veil that are able to understand this. It's people with open minds who can sit back and have their own belief, but can view somebody else's, and whose minds and whose beliefs change based on new information. And that brings me to continue on to talk about what's going on right now. Kim Clement, a prophetic leader of a church organization in Washington, stated in 2014 that in the future there would be two presidents, and that a commotion would come upon the earth that would make it that we would be forced to choose one side or the other. And how God has put this test towards his people to see who is loyal and who is not, to see who has chosen goodness and love over evilness, destruction, and greed. And how there's several ways things can go down, but he chooses to allow us to make it what we will. and how in the spring, great revelations will come forward, be told, that will shock most of the world. And how by December, and now this is me, but we can see this happening so obvious today, that his prophecy said by December, there was no year given, but I'm going to say December 2021, that a new elevated society would evolve out of this, that a new form of love and appreciation and caring would uplift out of the ashes of the evilness that has occurred here and will reign the earth, will control this earth for the rest of the time. Let me play a little bit about what he said back February 22nd, 2014, as he addressed his congregation at his church service.
Pandemonium. Pandemonium in the White House, in the higher regions, and below the earth, in Italy and in Rome. All of this uncovered but unspoken of. Do you realize that things are happening that you know not of because they are hidden from you, says the Lord? But look to the fall. Yet there is a tumultuous rendering that is coming. I stand to protect spring, but fall, you are rebelling. Or is it that possibly the Spirit of God will cause many to fall in fall? Then there is the earth that wishes to tremble. Shake! For the nations of the earth stand waiting. He is quiet. He shall not return. This God is too quiet. But my mercy endures forever. However, there is an uncovering of great evil. And I will start from the top. I have shaken the Democrats and will shake the Republicans even more. But remember, when these tremors and when these tumultuous moments happen, Summer says, I will take it so that the fall can do its work in America. The auto industry of this nation shall rise, and they shall disappoint the expectations of the East. And they shall say, what do they have? Why does America still prosper? Princes of darkness and demonic powers are raging for these two extremely wicked terror organizations to be pierced with the sword of the Lord. Summer, take it. For thus says the Lord, I will prosper my people. And during the fall there shall be many that shall fall, and many that shall rise from the dust. The earth is standing prepared. I shall take it, for the summer shall bring forth much in the temperatures. Strange July, hypnotic November, and oh, Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. For God says, I have chosen each season to manifest something. My will shall be done, and it shall come to pass that I shall bring sign after sign, and in the fall, that which comes down is that which was able to be shaken. And I will build and release the resources, and in the fall will show you whom I have chosen to pray for and guide this nation. You shall rejoice, for it is my man. It is my chosen David, says the Lord.
And that was Kim Clement, February 22nd, 2014. A lot said in just that clip that I was able to play for you. It's a 20-minute, 25-minute segment in entirety. And I recommend you go on YouTube, type in Kim Clement and the date, February 22nd, 2014, or go to any other platform, media platform you can find, and try to look up his material for that date, because there are some revelations in that if you listen to what he says, if you can intuitively read between the lines, and then you can look at what's happening today, the man is on to something. The man was on to something in 2014 before, Trump was even president. He talks a lot about the craziness that we've seen since 2016. And unfortunately, Kim Clement passed away in 2014 from complications in his brain. And he was not able to see his revolution, his prophecy come to pass and come true as it is today. But it hits home for me. I couldn't believe what I heard. I listened to the full video, and if you relate it to today, it is outstanding. The synchronicities in how well he speaks, obviously in a religious tone and inflection, but it matches a lot. So what is happening today? I'm not going to go back and talk what we've talked about previously. I think everybody here is caught up to know the insanity that is happening in the attempt of the darkness to take over the world and completely enslave us. And that is the way I explain it. It's a dark way of explaining it, but it's also the most raw and true that I can explain it to you. But that's not how it's going to end. But as of right now, the military is still in DC, despite several reports from the mainstream saying that it has been withdrawn or is being withdrawn. There are still fences surrounding key infrastructure in Washington. There has been reports that those have been removed. And while it is true that certain sections have been removed, other sections have gone up in other areas where the others have been taken down. This can be verified. There's a source I follow. I can't think of his name right now, but he's a boots on the ground there in Washington, D.C. And daily, weekly, he goes out with his camera and he finds out what's going on. He finds out if these things are true. There was a report that there was smoke and that there was a funny smell coming from under the Capitol building and some other infrastructure in D.C. And this man went out and was able to debunk that was anything nefarious. It was from a steam. There's steam tunnels that connect all federal buildings. And he was able to locate a map and then go out on foot and find these manholes, and was able to decide and figure out that that's what that was. And this is the kind of confirmation we need. And he's able to also confirm that fences are up, that military is still there, and that the White House seems to be empty. The White House still seems to shut down at 9 p.m. every night. I was able to confirm that the last talk given by members of the White House staff, including Administrator Biden, took place at Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. There's been several government employees who have shared videos from federal businesses the VA government facilities that they work at across the country, that there is no picture of the President of the United States on their wall of presidents. They have everyone from Trump previous, and where the current president is supposed to be is a blank cardstock. Now, if this was one location, maybe they just forgot to put it up. Maybe they've ordered a picture and it hasn't arrived. This is several locations from California to Washington, D.C., and reported by various employees from these facilities showing pictures, reporting videos, showing that there's nothing listed. Now, if Administrator Biden was president, wouldn't that be up there? Early this week, President Trump makes an appearance in London, traveling on an aircraft that looks very, very similar to his Air Force One, and the call sign given was Air Force One. Meanwhile, Biden and Harris are flying around on backup aircraft from the federal government under the call sign NA. Now, NA could mean not available. It could mean not applicable. But what it doesn't mean is Air Force One. Not to mention, has anybody seen the last video that's been posted, virally across the internet of President? Well, there's the one where President Biden or Administrator Biden falls down the stairs, but there's another one showing Biden and Harris coming out of the same aircraft, going to one of their locations where they're doing whatever the hell it is they do. That is highly against protocol, policy, and the Constitution of the United States of America. A president and a vice president can never, ever, under any circumstances, fly in the same aircraft to the same location at the same time for security and safety reasons. They always take separate aircraft at separate times, maybe to the same location, but never together. And that happened. That should also show you, no, this is not what it appears. He is not the president of the United States of America. It is a show. It is a game because the end game is near. Many have awoke to the inaccuracies and the inconsistencies of things that are going on, but there's still others who are far, far gone. And as some have said, the ending's not going to be for everybody. We have two presidents, or we have no president, however you want to look at it. But according to Kim Clement, in the summer, things will be exposed like never before. And in the fall, in the winter, rather, it will be a new paradigm, a new awakening, a new understanding. And how goodness and God will prevail, and evil and darkness shall be no more. It is uncomfortable what is happening, but it is necessary for our future, for our children's future, for the future of humanity, the lies, the games, the enslavement, the darkness that has ruled us and caused us to stay in suffrage has to end. And just remember, those that currently control the narrative do not have your best interests in mind. How do I know? Because they tell you to stay inside. Because they tell you to wear 2 or 3 masks. Because they tell you that if you don't do what they say, you will be prosecuted. Because they keep you from your churches, from your family, from your friends, from your day-to-day life, all in the guise of a virus with a 99% and above cure rate or recovery rate. And they tell you must get a vaccine. And while it's not mandatory because they know they're not going to win that war, they've done everything to try to make businesses, schools, and everywhere else mandated. That is not protection. That is control. You do not protect another person by demanding and mandating what they do. You protect the public by telling them the truth, by educating them and making them aware and being transparent. None of which happens from the liberal demo-rats that have sold out to the highest bidder, which is Lucifer and his minions. But stay tuned. When we get back, let's talk to Echo Hotel about my affidavit, sovereignty, freedom, and the American dream.
You are listening to the All Aware podcast on the TrueRants Network.
And welcome back to All Aware. Echo Hotel is with us here today, and we're going to get to him right quick here in a minute. But I did want to make another statement about what I said earlier about the demo rats. It isn't just the liberals. It isn't just the Democratic Party that is corrupt and that has sold out in this country. There's a lot in the Republican Party who have as well. We call those people rhinos because they're Republican in name only. And we need to clean that up as well. But one good thing about what's happening right now is we've been able to see just who is corrupt and who is not on all levels of government, thanks to the divisive, pretty much black or white, you're either this side or that side, things going on in the planet today. It can expose people very quickly. And so you better believe there are true patriots in government and in high positions who are taking notes, who have a list of names, and we're going to clean those folks out. And it's just a matter of time. So, stay fresh, stay positive, because it is happening. And let's get to Echo Hotel and talk about my affidavit now. Echo, are you there?
What's up, my brother Nathan?
Hey, Echo, what's up, man?
Just walking through the garden, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say I can hear some, sounds like some water and waterfalls and stuff going on over there.
Yeah, that's my pool. It runs during the day. It's got a little waterfall coming out of the jacuzzi.
What's the temperature out there right now?
It's about 80. Let me look at. It's right at 80.
Wow, that's not bad. I'm in Ohio right now, and doing this here from a hotel over here in Columbus, and it's been pretty cold. It had snow yesterday, so.
Oh my God! I was in Spokane last week, and training a guy, and it literally started snowing on me, and I was like, oh my God, dude, I don't do well in the snow. I need some warmth.
Right, you couldn't wait to get back, I bet.
That's for sure, brother.
So, hey, man, I'm glad to talk to you, man. I wanted to talk about affidavits today. I know you have some experience with that.
Yeah, you're coming to the right place, that's for sure, man. I'm knee deep in them right now.
Yeah, what do you got going on with what's going on here in your world?
Well, so it all started in 2018, and a guy at work woke me up. He started telling me some things that I thought he was crazy. He started telling me the government's a corporation, and that the IRS is based out of Puerto Rico, and it's there's all the private banks that own everything. And I said, man, you're crazy. He said money is just it's just fiat. It's just monopoly money.
Yeah.
And I went down that rabbit hole for a good 6 months and found out that everything he said was true.
Yeah, that rabbit hole's deep, man. It's never ending. It's like sometimes you have to kind of grab onto the side of the and grab a branch or something, or a root or something that's hanging out of that hole, and just hold on and just stay there for about a couple of days to a week, because you just need a break from it. Yeah.
That's exactly what I did, because after about 6 months of researching all this stuff, I got depressed. I'm a former Marine. I started feeling like I've been lied to, and it turns out we've all been lied to for a long time.
Right.
Pretty much right after the Civil War is when they started flipping all this stuff around and turning us into economic slaves. So I had a decision to make. It was either do something about it, or just sit there and be pissed off about it. And I'm not the type of person who's going to be just sitting and be pissed off. So I decided to do something about it. So
right.
the last 4 years, everything I do now wraps around learning as much as I can. I stopped watching mainstream news. I stopped listening to talk radio, all that stuff. All I do now is read, and when I'm in the car, I listen to different shows, that I can learn stuff from. YouTube was a huge help with that up until this past year when they started censoring everything and kicking all the good stuff off of YouTube. So,
right.
But the affidavits part of it, they didn't come in until about 9 months ago. And, it was, and I was going down that road, I was learning, I was listening to stuff, and I listened to a show out there. I found, Crow 777 radio, and they had a guy on who was talking about the law and talking about our natural God-given rights, and how they've been taken from us, but through affidavits, you can put them on notice and get them back. And about the same time, my son jumped on his dirt bike and took a little joyride. And it wasn't the first time, we, as a kid, I did it myself a number of times, but he ended up getting pulled over, and the cop.
So this is on city streets.
Yeah. And he all he broke was rules and statutes. Well, rules and statutes don't apply to you unless you volunteer into that system.
Right.
So I wrote up some affidavits and sent them to the court and sent them to the city and the county, and let them know, hey, these rules and statutes don't apply to me. You're administering my property without right now. Right. And they just pretty much ignored it. They that's what they do. That's how they do it. They ignore you. So I had to go into that first hearing, and before courts nowadays have been captured. Just like the Supreme Court, it's captured too, which is a whole different story. Which
right.
is one of the reasons Trump couldn't get his cases heard, because they're captured organizations. They're just not going to hear it. So when you go into a court these days, they just presume and assume that you're one of their citizen slaves. And I had already put them on notice through affidavits that they didn't reply to, that I'm not one of their citizen slaves. I've got all my God-given rights. And so before I ever went up and even spoke to the judge, I wouldn't even cross that bar going onto that ship.
So you're doing that because, just so I can help out, people understand. So you're saying that basically there's different types of citizens or residents or whatever, and basically you as a person, you have all your God-given rights given to you by the Creator, and nobody else can impede and trample on those. And then you have other types of citizens that are defined by either a company or, like we're employees, right? So if you're an employee to a company, you have certain policies and procedures you have to follow. If you say that you're a citizen of a certain country, that is technically not, that's kind of like a straw man in a way. And that's what the government's operating on. And that's how they're able to enforce these non-criminal acts on you. Am I kind of getting to the...
You're 100% correct. And what you got to watch out for is like you said, persons. Well, there's about 6 different definitions of persons. If you look it up in Black's Law, a corporation, a trust, there's at least 6 different definitions. So you have to, before you do anything, before I would ever do anything with affidavits, I would study and learn all this stuff first.
Right.
But long before the affidavits, which is what gave me the courage to start doing this, I've already established who I am. I went and got a new passport, and the new passport was without the social, and it was a book that I sent to the Secretary of State telling him who I am. I'm not one of your citizen slaves. I'm not a 14th Amendment citizen of the United States. I'm a citizen of my state, like our founding fathers were. I sent paperwork to the IRS in Puerto Rico, letting them know, hey, I'm now taking control of the trust because you guys did a poor job administering it.
Right.
So I took control of everything. So when I sent those affidavits, and I sent my passport with it, I sent a fee schedule. That's another thing, along with the trust, I filed a UCC-1 that has a fee schedule. And I sent this to them, letting them know, if you want to walk down this path with me, it's going to get expensive. And I think the minimum on that fee schedule is around $2 million for theft of property and whatever else I hit them with,
And that's what you can charge them, huh? That's what
yeah. And once they default on those affidavits, they don't answer them. I gave them, I want to say 15 days to answer them. They defaulted on that. So everything in there, they acquiesced to. It's tacit agreement. They agreed to everything I said because they defaulted. They didn't respond. They can't respond. What are they going to say?
Right.
Part of the affidavits, it asks them questions like, "Am I your property? Do I have a contract with you?" We're walking them down that path, and they just can't answer that type of stuff. So it's a lot of times, it's funny because a lot of times they will see that and they'll think, "Man, we better let this one go. We just leave this guy alone. He
too much hassle."
He's not your average person, or there's that word again. You're so used to seeing person.
Yeah.
He's not your average man that comes into court, and we'll get into that too because I did have to go to court, and it was funny how everyone in there, not one person was found not guilty. You are rotted through that courtroom, and you have no chance whatsoever.
Wow.
But yeah, so I sent them all the affidavits, and so I mean that's a higher law than what they're operating with. So if they decide to push forward, and if they're stupid enough to push forward, then they are outside their jurisdiction. So now what they're doing is they're on their own. So now I'm getting ready to fire them some new affidavits today because of when we went to court, they just pushed it through and decided to ignore me again. And so now they're on their own. I'm putting them all on notice in a personal capacity and filing financial claims against them. So it's about to get real interesting and they're real expensive for a lot of people here.
Wow. So, and I mean, this all stemmed from you said they gave your son a ticket or an infraction because he was on his dirt bike on city streets and
right.
the county you live in. Yeah. And, so you're just trying to simply fight that with these affidavits. What are these affidavits? A lot of people say that they hear that word and they think of a document or they think of a piece of paper or something. But can you kind of explain kind of what that is, like what you're doing?
So an affidavit is your testimony, and it's filed into the case. It's notarized by a notary, and you're essentially telling them what happened and how you were damaged. And then there's a place where they have to rebut, point by point. And so if they don't rebut it, then they're in default. But it's mostly questions like what I was saying earlier is am I your property? Do I have a contract with you? And the reason you ask those questions is because every little town and city in this country, 99% of them now are all corporations.
Absolutely.
The county of Riverside, is a corporation. The state of Ohio is a corporation. Corporations can't do business with living men and women.
Right.
There's a Supreme Court case out there. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but there's a Supreme Court case out there that says that only a corporation can do business with another corporation, and that's what these courts were set up for. But when they illegally set up trusts for us at our birth with the birth certificates, they just assume that we're representing the trust. Well,
yeah,
That's when you send the affidavit and you let them know. I'm representing me, myself. I'm a living man. I'm not representing trust.
Right.
And that's a big problem for them when you do that. But these guys out here, they're hard-headed so far. I know of people who have done this, and it just disappears. Judges don't show up, cops don't show up, but these guys so far out here have been hard-headed and want to keep going down the road. So,
do you think maybe some of them are just ignorant to it? Do you think some of these judges and magistrates and different things might just be ignorant to that? I mean,
I used to think so, and you know what, they could be, but with the paperwork that you're sending and what you're saying, you think they would pause for a moment and say, maybe I better look at this a little closer, because they're being a judge and an attorney. That's what they do. The judge in this case, I looked him up. He's been a judge for 20 years. Can't tell me he doesn't know. He's got to know something about this.
Yeah.
But
I'm going through a situation too right now where I kind of got a little bit into this affidavit stuff, talking to you before, and I created a couple of them, and I retained a lawyer for the thing I'm going through, and when I sent him to him, he just he just looks up, he says, "Yeah, we don't submit this kind of stuff,"
Yeah, he can't.
Yep.
He can't do, because he's representing a fictional law. Well, technically, he's representing the bar,
right.
and so let me jump into that real quick.
Sure.
Because I was just listening to this on another show, and they broke it down. So attorneys they represent you, but above you, their first duty above you is to the court, and then the bar, and then you third. So
wow.
That's how they extract money out of you. Their first duty is to extract money out of you somehow, which is why 99% of the cases are plea bargained out.
Wow.
But they want that guilty plea, because that guilty plea then allows them to attach that birth bond, and then they can extract money out of your birth bond. And a lot of people might not know what I'm talking about, but that birth certificate, it was created for you at birth, has your all caps name on it. That's the trust. It's on some 32-pound watermark banknote paper. If you look at the bottom of the birth certificate in fine print, it'll say U.S. banknote paper on most of them. And unless you rebut all that, you're in their system. They have jurisdiction over you. But the minute you do what I've done, they no longer have that. And I know that it works because I've been pulled over.
Right.
And the last time I was pulled over, the officer came back and he said, and this was a motorcycle officer, and these guys don't give breaks. They write the ticket behind you and then walk up and have you sign it. This guy, when I gave him my license, he went and ran, and he came back and he said, it'll just be a warning today. Have a nice day. I go to down to Mexico a lot. And when I was a kid, I've been going down there my entire life. We would always come back. They would always ask you the stupid questions about, what do you declare? What are you bringing back? Where are you going? What are you doing? The first time I did this 4 years ago, those questions stopped, because when they run that passport after you've done this, it pops up on their end. It doesn't say anything. The passport doesn't look any different, but on their end, when they run it, it pops up: do not detain, do not interrogate, and lifetime concealed weapons permit, because you've declared that you're not one of their 14th Amendment slaves, that you have your rights. And so that's the first thing I usually give an officer is my passport card.
Yeah.
And then if they really want the driver's license, I'll say, you know what, I carry this because I'm a commercial, I have a CDL, but I'm not operating in that capacity right now. So I'll give you this for identification purposes, but it's under duress. And make sure that they know, you better run that passport, because it's gonna save you a lot of time and headaches.
Yeah. So when you say 14th Amendment citizen, I'm looking at the 14th Amendment right now. Let's see. It says all persons born naturalized in the United States, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge their privilege.
That's the key. You just read the key right there.
Right.
The citizens of the United States, which the United States is a corporation.
Right, because it's not saying of America. Yep.
And of the state that they reside. So you have literally dual citizenship. But they assume that you're a citizen of the United States, which is a corporate fiction. And the only jurisdiction that corporate fiction has is the 10-mile square Washington, D.C. The way they rope people in, or persons, or trusts, or corporations, is through the zip code. The zip code is a federal district zone, and so when you're a resident and you get mail at your house, you're saying that I'm a 14th Amendment district slave.
Right.
I'm just living outside Washington, D.C. right now. Those are the presumptions you have to defeat. You have to tell them up front. You know what? That's not where I am. It's like Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin never said, "I'm a U.S. citizen." None of the founding fathers would say that. First, because it was no 14th Amendment in Washington, D.C.
Right.
But second, they were citizens of their state. They came together as representatives of different states, and had all their God-given rights. And I have proof of it. I've literally got a passport, and then I went and got a certified copy. I FOIA requested the State Department for a certified copy of my application with everything I sent them, and they sent it back certified, saying, yes, this is what you did. So they issued me a passport under the terms and conditions that I put down.
Wow.
So they can't come back later and say, well, no, that's not you. Well, sorry, but you certified this saying it is, and you gave me a passport under those conditions.
Well, I'm actually in the process of that myself right now. It's actually out there. They just cashed the check last week. I saw on my bank account. So they got the application and the paperwork. So I just got to wait for it to get back. So that would be the next step. Then would be to FOIA request the application.
You have to.
Okay.
You have to.
And that's so you can retain proof that you are you're retaining your state citizenship, you're retaining your sovereignty, right?
Right, and technically, the passport belongs to them, so that's why they can revoke it and take it back or do what they want with it. The application belongs to you, which is why that's the proof you need. So we always FOIA request our applications. I've actually got a second one now because I went back and redid my passport. The first one, I stated who I was and everything, but they wanted the Social Security number. Well, there's a couple of processes out there now where you don't have to give them the Social Security number, and it's more effective. So I went and literally redid my passport again for a second time, and just FOIA requested them again for a second copy of the new updated passport without the social.
Okay. Wow, nice.
And it takes 6-7 months to get it. It's not something that's going to happen quick, but you will get it.
Yeah, they don't want you to have it, right? So they're going to delay as long as they can.
Well, and getting off topic a little bit, yeah, they don't want you to have it, which is one of the reasons that I believe what's going on right now with this COVID and everything. This is a last ditch push to take over, because so many people are waking up and so many people are learning this information that they don't have time. Doesn't this all feel rushed, like they did it last minute?
Yeah, I was going to say
chaotic.
Yeah. I was just going to respond with that. I was just going to say, yeah. I mean, this is sloppy, man. We know the game that's been going on for hundreds of years, but now what's going on today in the last year since 2019 to the last 2 years. It seems rushed. It's sloppy. There's a lot of loose ends. There's a lot of things being exposed. It's so obvious. I mean, and as soon as to those people who may not know what we're talking about, as soon as you start seeing one thing, that you find out, I guess once you start awakening, like one eye, you just start seeing this over here, your other eye opens and you start seeing everything. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, it's all connected. And it's just, and it's a last ditch effort. I love that. That's what I think. Yeah. I think it's a last ditch effort for control. And that's why they're so sloppy.
That's exactly what it is. And that's what, that's my big push now. That's my mission in life, is to help as many people as I can to at least wake them up. And it's not easy doing what we do. It's not easy getting out of the system. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Some people are just happy being where they're at, and that's fine. They want to be there.
Yeah.
Myself, I ran as fast as I could for the exit door. And I'm still running it. I mean, it's been 4 years. I'm still running. I still have more paperwork to do, but I have enough done where if they do come at me or mess with me, it's going to be expensive for them.
You're like in between the double doors to the mall right now, and the other one won't open. That you're waiting for the outside one to open. It's still not open. I get it. Man.
Exactly. There was another guy on that Crow. You'll learn a lot of stuff if you listen to Crow. Who went through this, and I contacted him. He literally went to court and had the birth certificate the all caps name on the birth certificate changed to upper and lowercase through a court order.
Oh, no way.
And he's literally out of the system. When he goes to TSA at the airport, they come and get him, and they tell him, hey, you're in the wrong line. You need to come over here where people don't take their shoes off, because even the TSA, man, that's a violation of your rights every which way.
Right.
So there are ways, and that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about that I want to do next is just go, and do little things like that, and get your all caps name changed to upper and lowercase, and get a new birth certificate where they denote that's another form of proof where they can't get around it.
Wow. Yeah. So, and we should have, hopefully we can have another podcast and talk, get into that stuff a little bit more, because that's like the meat and potatoes of it. But I think this affidavit, like I've been trying to explain to some of my buddies, kind of what it is and how to use it to kind of demand, your rights and things like that, and a lot of different things, because it works outside of the court system too, doesn't it not? Like for
definitely.
Yeah, for debts and different things, you can use it. If you have loans or anything out there or debts that they're trying to come after you, you can send them an affidavit, demanding what it is, how much, where, the promissory note, and that you as your person are required to pay that. I've done that. I did one to the IRS. Was it 2019? I think I did one to the IRS asking to prove to me that I owe income tax, and all I got back was a letter saying that it's under investigation and I don't owe anything.
And nobody's going to put their name on that, because they're like looking at it like, oh crap. This guy knows it. This guy knows a few things.
Yeah, I've never got anything after that. So.
You know what's funny is not to get too far off topic. I want to get back to the affidavits, but a quick story, because you brought it up, is so I just got a packet in the mail from a process server over a credit card. It's like $3,000. It's nothing. But I did exactly what you were just talking about. I sent them the affidavit. I actually sent it to the president of the credit card company and the top financial officer. So they both got it, and it included affidavits. This is about 1.5 years ago, and it just asked them a series of questions. This was after I learned that your birth bond is tapped for everything. So when you get a credit card, they tap that birth bond. Say you get a $5,000 limit. Well, they tap that birth bond for $5,000. It's paid up front. So everything you give them is gravy, just like when you buy a house. The house is paid for. Your signature is what created that money. Mm-hmm. So once I learned all this, I said, if I created this money, then I'm going to keep it. So I sent them this affidavit, just asking them some general questions about their accounting principles, and did they get paid up front? Well, of course they didn't respond to the affidavit. They can't, because they'd be criminally liable. So usually the stuff just goes away, and then you just got to mess with your credit report and get it off your credit report, which takes a little work. But this particular bank, 1.5 years later, decided, you know what, we're not happy with that. So I just got a thing in the mail from some attorneys that I'm going to have some fun with, because I'm going to bar grieve them and send them some criminal complaints, and because they got no business in my matter. Right. And then I'm gonna file a suit against Capital One because I already gave them the opportunity to bow out, and they don't want to do that. So now it's going to get expensive for them. But yeah, it's just a matter of asking them the right questions, and they can't answer those questions because it's fraud. What they're doing to people is fraud. 100% all out fraud.
Right. Yeah. And so when it comes to these, so for someone just getting into this stuff and just trying to figure out, because I mean, obviously it's really, really, really involved. I mean, like you were saying, if it was easy, then everybody would do it. It's been built upon for, years and years and years and years to where there's so many different layers. If we were to get some knowledge out there for people with these affidavits, how could they just start, using this now? I mean, how do you think you can get that out there to where they can kind of start retaining their state if that's what they want to do,
Well, it's like I was telling you earlier. My whole mission in life now is to help people, and the guy that I learned this from said the same thing. He had a conversation with his creator one day, walking down the street with his dog, and he said, "You know what? I just want to live free.
Yeah,
I just want to live free once in my life, and if you allow me to live free, I'll help as many people as I can." And this guy doesn't charge for anything. He gives all the documents away for free. All you got to do is edit them. The biggest thing I would say is study. I've been doing this 4 years now, and I still don't know everything. I learn something new every single day. I learn something new, but it's because I turned off that the TV box, which is funny because when you break it down, the television, what does it break down to? Television.
Right.
And what are they sending you? Programming, the program in your mind. And then a channel. They're channeling programs to you. It's amazing when you turn that thing off. How much your mind opens up, and you start learning. The universe starts giving you the information instead of asking for the information from some guy on a box every night. You don't know if he's lying to you or not. You got to use your own common sense.
Yeah, I realized that too, and I got a story kind of about that just happened last week, and I was visiting my father, and he watches. We're into like superheroes and stuff. We've always we never grew up past that stuff. We love that kind of stuff, and he had a show. He found some new cartoon, right? And I'm thinking this like, oh God, what is this? What's going to be on here? Because I know what this is. It's all programming. It's all crap. So he turns it on, and I'm watching this stuff, and it's like, it looks like some crazy. I mean, there's just the scenes don't make sense. There's some kind of hypnotic crap going on, and I could just see all the symbolism, man. I mean, it's a cartoon, but like, and one scene, it's almost like someone's on. The way they're showing it's like someone's on acid, and they're going into this restaurant, right? And they're ordering stuff, and there's weird faces and stuff. And then on the wall it says 666. There's like symbolism in the scheduling for the menu for the food, and I'm like I look over and I'm like, do you see this stuff? Like this is programming. And he's like, what? Oh, I mean, I know it's weird, but it's kind of funny. And I'm just thinking, man, like it's open, it's out there. Once you see it everywhere. You know what I mean?
You can't unsee it.
Right.
Just to piggyback onto that, if you start looking at some of the Disney cartoons, and we won't go down that road yet,
right.
But just the Disney cartoons alone, there's phallic symbols. There's all kinds of craziness and that's what our kids are watching.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this stuff like, oh my God, how do we not see this ourselves? You don't see it until you're awake. Once you're awake, then you see it.
Yeah.
And then you can't unsee it. And then you have to make a decision. Are you going to do something about it? Or are you just going to go along with it? For me, that was a no-brainer. I was going to do something about it. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, I'm like that too, man. I can't just turn my head and plug my ears and just keep going around like nothing's going on. I can't do it.
Yeah,
it's not possible. But
so getting back to your question, I don't. Like I said, my motivation now is to help as many people as I can. So, I'll send you my contact information, and if I can point people in the right direction, or give them the affidavits they need, or give them the knowledge they need, that's 100% what I'm all about. I learned this. We're standing on the shoulders of giants right now. I didn't come up with this stuff. I learned it from other people that go back to the early '80s, right. that I wish I'd have known this dude. It took me 50 years to get in this stuff. You know, that's why I'm kind of frustrated that it's taken so long to get out. But if it takes you 50 years to get into something, it's going to take you a little while to get out. But you got to take that first step. And if you're willing to take that first step, then I'm there to help people.
Yeah, that's great, man. And I'll definitely take that stuff down, and we can get that out on a website or on one of our social medias or something, and get that out there where they can contact you by email and things like that.
Yeah, I actually just started. I think I told you about a week or two. I just started kind of branching off and doing things under Echo Hotel. And so I've got Telegram now. I've got, I think, a Facebook page. I've got a few other things and a YouTube channel. And so I'm getting to the point where I'm going to start putting content out there. I definitely want to put this out there too.
Sure.
After you get done editing it, but yeah, it's, you know, I never thought in a million years I would be talking to anybody about this. It was just kind of my personal journey that I was learning. But if I can help anybody, all you have to do is stand up for your rights. That's the biggest thing that they expect people to do is they expect people to just bow down like they're kings and queens and we're below them. We're not below them. We're above them. All you have to do is express your rights and tell them that. Right. And if they violate them, it's on them. You know, it's their problem now.
And you're talking about the control structure. Everybody always says, we say they a lot. Well, it's easier to say they because there's a lot of intricacies and different organizations and people and things that are a part of this. So it's easier that. But you're talking about basically the control structure, the elite families, secret societies, and things that have made the world and the the back channels of society, which operated in the way that it is now, that makes us not sovereign, not free. Is that pretty much right on there?
That's exactly. And you, it's funny you just mentioned the word they, because I was listening to someone else today, driving home before I was able to jump on with you. And he was locking down, the point is, who is they? Right. Because someone on his show was talking about, well, I got a letter from my homeowners association and it said, we changed the rules and this, that, and the other thing. And so when he called, he said, well, they changed the rules. Well, who's they? And that's one of the first things you have to learn is, you know what? There is no they. You get a name.
Yeah. And
you find out who they is. And nobody wants to attach their name to that stuff because it's all fraud. And the minute you get a name, you send them, a claim or a notice, and hey, you're violating my rights. I didn't agree to this. And all of a sudden, they disappears.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Hey, we have about a minute and a half left. So if there's anything, do you have any kind of website? You said you have Telegram and some other social media. Do you have anything else you want to plug out there?
I do, and let me get that together and send it to you. You can tag it in this video. The one thing, and I know we were supposed to talk about affidavit, so for the next minute, let me just kind of run through what happened at court. So So my son got pulled over. So this officer who is they're all employees of municipal corporations now. They're like security guards for McDonald's or Walmart. They have no authority to be doing anything to you if you're not one of their citizen slave employees. So this guy, by force of arms, pulls my son over, and I refer to my son as my property because if you don't refer to your kids as your property, then you're giving up your kids to the state. The state has the right to administer, which is what they're trying to do now. They're trying to administer my property without right. So in my affidavits, I said, no, my son is my property. Another thing that they did, they impounded the dirt bike, which is my property.
Oh, wow.
It cost me $1,000 I had to jump through a bunch of hoops and pay a bunch of fines to get it out and get my property back. So they're administering my property without right. You can't do that. I didn't give permission to do that. So when we went into court, I told the judge at the cross-dressing judge masquerading up there in the Black Road, which is a whole different situation.
Right. Hey, you're in California, right? Just to be clear.
Yeah. I said, listen, you're administering my property without right. You know, he looked at me like I was crazy. I said, I have affidavits filed in this case that you defaulted on, and even the court clerk said, yeah, I think we got something today in the mail, and the judge, he's like, do you want to see him? And the judge was like, no, I don't need to see that. That's probably something you should look at.
Right.
You know, so he said, he entered a not guilty plea for me. I said, listen, no, that's not how this works. You don't plead for me. That was the first problem. So we left, and so when I got back, I wrote up a new affidavit. And this affidavit was sent to him personally as the man, not a judge, but as a man. You administered my property without right. You did this, you did that, and I hit him with a $200,000 claim. I said, you know what? Rebut this. Yeah, I gave him 15 days to rebut this, and to this day, nothing. He didn't rebut it, so he acquiesced. So I have him in default right now on a $200,000 claim, and I'm going to use that at some future date when we go into federal district court for deprivation of rights and violation of rights under color of law. Right. You just can't do this. So,
wow.
So, long story short, I know we're getting short. I went into court Tuesday of this week, and I told my son, I said, listen, we're going to be here a while. We're going to be last. We're going to be last because they don't want people hearing what I have to say. And the funny part was, before court, the sheriff came out and she said, okay, we need all attorneys and law enforcement in the court first, because they have their little powwow without the public. You can't hear what they're saying. So I guarantee the judge told this cop, the cop showed up, I guarantee he told him what's going on. Well, the cop decided to stick around and testify to this matter. Well, now he's personally liable. I got him up there, and before I walked onto the judge's ship again, I said, hey, I reserve all my rights, waive none ever. And I started asking the cops some questions that the judge didn't really like. I said, am I your property? Do I have a contract with you? And I got him to admit, no, yeah, of course you're not my property. No, I don't have a contract with you. And then I asked him the nail in the coffin. I said, under what part of the Constitution gives you the right to pull my property over under force of arms with a gun to the side of the road and steal my property and extract money out of me? And the judge jumped in like, whoa, don't answer that. Don't answer that.
Wow.
And I looked at the judge and he was like, no, we're not going there. Do you have any other questions for him? And I said, no, man, I just want to know why we're here. I've got unrebutted affidavits into this case. I said, why are we here? And he said, guilty, $1,400 fine. A $1,400 fine for a kid riding a dirt bike on the street, man.
Wow.
that is what got me into this. If it would have been like $100 or something, that's what they prey on. They think, oh, well, you have these petty little fines. People don't have time to mess with this. $100, $200. Right. They'll just pay and be on our way. This was a $1,400 fine. Jesus. And come to find out, 200 and something of it was for driving without a license, because he was like 15 and a half. And the other remaining like 900 was for no insurance.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, okay. So when I found out it was $1,400, that was it, man. I was like, I'm done having my rights trampled on. I'm done with these people. I'm gonna take this the whole distance. And so now literally I got to write up new affidavits today because I'm bringing the sheriff in. He's going to get named personally under his personal capacity, not as a sheriff, but his personal capacity for fraud, bear chief, for a number of other things that happened that day. And then so the last thing I asked the judge, I said, where's the prosecuting attorney in this matter? And the judge said, this is traffic. We don't have a prosecuting attorney. I said, I need a prosecuting attorney because I need some evidence of agency. I need a bond number. I need insurance number because you're all personally liable here. Yeah. I'm going to need some of this information. And he said, no, that's a district attorney. All right, thank you, sir, for you just named the Riverside District Attorney. So you just drug him into this. So I'm getting ready to send the same stuff to the Riverside District Attorney. Dude, I'm whacking the bee's nest right now. But when you claim your rights, there's nothing they can do. There's zero they can do. They can either back down or they can keep going. Yeah. Right now, they want to keep going. It's going to get expensive for them.
Wow.
Wow. But I know you got limited time, and I just wanted to get that in there. It's I'm having a lot of fun with this right now. I really am.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, and definitely we'll have to get back on here and talk more about this stuff, and because it's just so much, and definitely got to update us and definitely update me, man, on what's going on, because I'm learning myself.
I will, man. I'm praying that you're gonna do some of this stuff and help out. I want you to step up and claim your rights. That's all you got to do. And there's a reason your attorney won't do it, because he's bound by the bar, and they're doing everything's fraud. It's all fraud. What they're doing is fraud. He can't and that stuff, and he can't talk about it.
Yeah,
so.
I think I might be going a different way than that anyways, so I just might do this way instead of opposed to that way.
Well, and the last thing I'll say, and this is where a lot of this stuff is headed. You're not gonna win an argument with a cop on the side of the road. All you can do is give him an affidavit of status, which is what I carry. I carry an affidavit of status right now, and I carry my fee schedule, and I explain to them, you know what, hey, this can go a couple of ways. You wanna give me a ticket? All right. Well, I'm going to serve you with this affidavit of status and this fee schedule, and you're going to have 3 days to rebut it. And they're going to go back to the car, and they're going to look at it, and they're going to call someone, and they're usually going to let you go, because you're not the typical guy that they pull over. But if they want to walk down this road, which is where I'm at now, you know, I'm walking them down this road. It's going to end up in federal district court, and federal district court. There's the 18 USC 241 and 242, deprivation of rights and violation of rights under color of law. This is all color of law. If you have told them this and you have noticed them, the settlements are astronomical, especially when you have a fee schedule that's already set up that you sent them, and they keep walking you down this. So. It's, you know, and that's what I would say to you is it's going to be tough if you do this, if you go down this road. But at some point, if you go down this road, they're going to have to settle, and they're going to have to pay you for your time and for what they did to you.
Yeah,
and that's where people like people just want instant gratification. Okay, I need my license. All right, I'll pay whatever. I got to get back to work. That's not me.
Yeah.
We're gonna walk down this road, and this is probably gonna be a 2 or 3 year road, maybe longer. But in the end, I've walked them through the process, and they're not gonna be able to come into court and say, well, we didn't know, because use the same. What do they say to all of us? What do they? Was there like 2 million codes and statutes? What do they say to us when we walk into court? Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Right.
You know? Ignorance of the law is no excuse, and I informed you so. That's where I'm at. So I would love to keep this conversation up with you, and I know you have a few things going on tonight, but let's do it again.
All right, brother. Yep, I gotta get off here, but it was great having you on, Echo, and we'll definitely do it again, man. And I will talk to you here soon, brother. Echo Hotel. Right. You can get them on. You got a Telegram, right? So you can probably just type that in Telegram and get you that way.
Got Telegram, got YouTube, got Facebook. I'm just firing all this stuff up now, so there's not a whole lot going on. But I will send you all the links, so we can start adding videos and content to it and helping people out. I'll send you my email, so anybody that wants to get hold of me, I can point them in the right direction or help them however I can. And you know, as many people as we can get on the same page going at these people, believe me, it works. It really does work.
Awesome, brother. Let's do it, man. All right, man. I got to run. Take care. Thanks for coming on the program, man. We'll talk to you.
Awesome. Good night, brother.
Bye. And that was Echo Hotel bringing you some information on affidavits. Unfortunately, we were unable to get to the end of his story. I know he had more to share, but we had just ran so much over on this episode. We're at an hour and 15 right now. So we're going to have him back on the program. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a pretty frequent guest on here. He's one of my best friends out of Riverside, California area. And I think it's going to be really good what's coming down the pipe here on All Aware. So once again, I thank you for tuning in. Next time, we're going to be talking about suppressed technology, super technology, things that have been withheld from the American and worldwide citizenry of this planet, things that are going to uplift and change the way we do things and how easy it is for us to overcome medical obstacles and other hurdles in our lives, and when we can expect these technologies. If you would like to subscribe, please do by visiting us on YouTube at TrueRants Network. You can hit the subscribe button there to get all of our content that is uploaded there. You can go to our website specifically for this show. You can go to the website for this show by going to TrueRants.net and then click on the shows icon and you'll see All Aware there. You can get us on Stitcher, iTunes, and anywhere else that you download podcasts. Like and subscribe, and please leave a review, as that helps our reach get even further and further, so that we can help awaken and get the confusion a little toned down here in the world. And like always, you are all aware. And until next time, good night.